Hello, and welcome to the Badhumanist look at Prot, Warrior, likes and dislikes. So again, very quick video here, going to give you 3 likes, 3 dislikes for the spec. If you want a more in-depth look at the Prot Warrior, go ahead and take a look at my more extended video that's already up on the channel. A link for it will be down in the description below. So like number 1 is utility. This tank has a lot of utility. This feels like an old-fashioned style tank. You have a lot of abilities, a lot of different things you can do. You have the ability to increase your damage with Avatar. You have the ability to CC with things like Intimidating Shout and Shockwave. You have, again, Intercept, which is a very unique kind of utility that the Warrior brings, or the Prot Warrior brings, I should say. Again, you have Spell Reflection. You have the ability to leap around. Again, you have Battle Shout and Rallying Cry. Again, what are both kind of raid utility things. Of course, you have Interrupt that all tanks have. So yeah, a lot of interesting utility here for sure. Number 2. My second like is going to be the relatively, comparatively I should say, really good magic defense. So compared to a lot of the other tanks, Warriors are going to, I think, be one of the better magic tanks because of the mentioned Spell Reflect being on a relatively short cooldown. Again, reducing magical damage taken by 50%, as well as Ignore Pain. So having Ignore Pain, again, as something that allows you to simply prevent all damage taken, not just physical damage, makes it the clear winner, by the way, over Shield Block for magic damage type fights, and then with the ability to kind of improve it, improve Ignore Pain, I should say, with, again, something like Vengeance, reducing the rage cost based off of it, or something like Never Surrender, increasing the prevention of damage based upon missing health, is going to make them a very, very strong magic defense. Again, you can think about Druids with Mark of Ursa before, where you have that consistent ability to kind of put up a magic defense. I think that, yes, Warriors are going to be one of the better magic tanks in the BFA expansion. My third like here for the Prot is Prot has amazing damage intake in regards to how smooth it is. So again, while they, and I'll get this to my dislikes, have very little self-sustain, they have the amazing ability to smooth out damage with their number of cooldowns they have, plus with things like block. So the ability to block and to critically block, and with abilities like shield block and shield slam and such, really I think help smooth out that incoming damage. And as a healer main, I always have found it very pleasurable to be able to heal a tank where I'm not worried about them dying. Especially in something like a Mythic Plus, I like to know that if they're at 35% health, they're not just going to die in the next second. That I have time to save a DPS, for example, and not spend a heal on them. Because again, DPS can very easily get one-shot. And so again, the idea that the tank can survive a little bit longer, if they need be, is quite reassuring. Again, when you have something like a Demon Hunter or a Death Knight that's more reliant on their healing, they're taking damage and then healing. But again, if that damage taken kills them, you can't heal yourself when you're dead. So I do really like the Warrior's ability to use their cooldowns, things like, again, Shield Wall, things like Demoralizing Shout, again, things like Last Stand, of course, I mentioned already, Shield Block. So again, they have a lot of Rallying Cry, even abilities to help them stay alive a little bit longer. And that, I think, is really, really helpful as from a healer perspective. Now, dislikes. Number 1 dislike is their DPS when in full tank mode is a bit low. So they definitely struggle on the DPS, and I think that one of the biggest things is the fact that Revenge, which is one of their bigger kind of damaging and help with their damage ability, does cost rage. You're basically only going to use this when you get a proc, or if you're just having too much rage, which I didn't really encounter much of. But again, unless you're going full DPS, and again sacrificing some shield block or ignore pain uptime, your DPS is going to be a bit lower than the other tanks. So again, that the ability to have to kind of pick one or the other, I think, is challenging. Again, even when I was full DPS, I was only equaling the other tanks, and those tanks were doing that DPS while in full survival rotation. Number 2, again, is really the ignore pain shield block with physical damage. I mentioned this in my long video. Again, it's one of those things where I'm sure eventually, again, some kind of calculations will be done so that we actually know which one is better. But just the fact that, again, both of these things cost rage, and for a physical damage thing, you would kind of want to keep both up if possible. But again, it really depends upon how long ignore pain shield life. If you ignore pain and can't get a shield block off when you want to, that might be difficult. So again, rage generation and then the ability to spend the rage, I think, is going to be something that's going to be interesting. It might just turn out that, yeah, ignore pain's for magic, shield block is for physical, kind of like how again, Guardian Druids in the past had the Iron Fur and Mark of Ursaw. Maybe not, maybe you'll be able to use both, but again, it's one of those things where I don't think Blizzard wants people to have to do advanced calculations to know what to use when. So it would be nice if Blizzard made it very clear, or did something to allow it to be, understandable what ability you'd want to use when. Because for physical damage, it's a bit of an unknown. Magical damage is clearly ignore pain, but with physical, shield block is very strong, increasing that the block chance and giving yourself those critical blocks. And my final dislike for Prot is the lack of self-sustain. So while I mentioned earlier that they have the great job of keeping themselves alive in the short term, they cannot be left alone. They're going to need a healer. They have very, very little, if zero, self-healing. Again, Last Stand is really pretty much about it. Now, it should be noted, in Mythic Plus, where Victory Rush is going to be available more frequently, that's going to be a bit better. So again, the fact that you get this after you kill an enemy that yields experience or honor, in Mythic Plus, when you're killing the little dudes quite frequently, you'll be getting Victory Rush more often. That will help with your ability to self-sustain in Mythic Plus. But in a raid environment, where again, your only options are taken pending victory, which again is still only every 30 seconds, you're going to need a healer on you. There's just no question about that. You're going to do a great job of reducing damage intake, which is, again, if you have a healer, is going to make you still a very, very viable tank. It's just that, again, you're not going to be able to kind of be off on your own, like we were in the very beginning of Legion, and stay alive. So again, you're going to definitely need some external heals to kind of keep you alive for any reasonable duration of time. I mean, I believe I was able to keep myself alive for something like 30-45 seconds. That was about it. So again, their self-sustain is definitely going to be a lot weaker than something like a Demon Hunter or Death Knight that is more based around their ability to self-heal. So there we go. Those are my 3 likes and 3 dislikes for the Prot Warrior. If you agree with what I'm saying, go ahead and give me a like. If you disagree, go ahead and give me a dislike. If you like this content, go ahead and subscribe. Again, Monk will be my next class I go over, so look forward to those Monk videos. Again, also be checking out my other Warrior videos. Again, if you like these, check out the longer versions if you want a more in-depth look. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you in my future videos.